welcome back to my channel. My name is Nikki and I make chronic illness content, and I just share my life on here basically. So I'm exhausted right now. I feel like this summer I probably went a little bit too hard because I was very excited that it was summer, and so I'm definitely feeling it, and so it's time to take it easy. So what I've been doing to take it easy and to fill my time has been reading books. And so if you saw my last video or one of my last videos, then you would see that I had picked up 7 books to tide me over for a bit. But as I also mentioned in that video, sorry I'm a little winded, I was just making soup. In the last video, I also shared that I'm a binge reader, and so that is why I picked up 2 different series at the same time. Series? Whatever. I don't know how to say that. So, let's review. And drink water first because pots. Okay, so the first series that I read, let me put this in order here. The first series that I read was the Remnant Chronicles, and there are 3 books. And each book is, the first 2 are about just shy of 500 pages, and then the last book is like shy of 700 pages. And I think I went through this series in a week. Each book took me about 2 days. This one maybe took me about 3 days, and they were really good. Okay, so I told you in the last video, or one of the last videos, that I would share what this series is about. So basically it's about this character named Leah, who she is the princess and has responsibilities to her kingdom, and part of those responsibilities is to get married to the prince of another kingdom to create an ally between the two. But she believes that she deserves to be able to marry for love, and so she runs away on her wedding day and starts a new life over from there. But there's a lot of things that happen in this series, and I don't want to give away too much, but basically the prince that she was supposed to marry finds her, and because they've never met before, she has no idea what he looks like, but she knows what she looks like, and so they get to know each other and end up falling in love. But at the same time, there is an assassin from another kingdom sent to kill the princess, and he ends up falling in love with her too, and so there is this love triangle going on in here. So that's what they're about. And now I'm going to give you like a little like what I liked, what I didn't like about this series. So what I liked was that this author had a very interesting writing style. So she wrote from the 3 characters' perspectives. So the princess, the prince, and the assassin is who she is writing from the different perspectives from. In the first book, it made it super interesting because she gave tons of descriptions of what they looked like, but not in their respective like chapters, and so you didn't really know who the prince was and who the assassin was until like right in the middle of the book, which made it super interesting, and I really liked that about this first book. And yeah, it kept it interesting. That would be what I like. The other thing that is interesting about her writing style is she leaves her books on a cliffhanger so that it forces you to pick up the next book. So what I liked about that is for the first 2 books, it drew you into the next book, but what I didn't like was how she ended this 3rd book. It ended so abruptly. So because she kind of leaves her, almost like her climax is like, she has one at the very beginning of the book, and then she has another one kind of like towards the end of the book to lead you into the next one. It worked for the first 2 books. The only thing that I found was sometimes it was a little bit long in the in-between sections. But what I didn't like about that in the third book was that it took you almost all the way to the end of the book to get to the point in this third book. And then she ended it so abruptly. Like, it was like, okay, we made it to where we wanted to be. That took only a chapter, and the end. Gives a little bit of a blurb of each character to close off the book, and that's done, basically. So I did not like how abruptly it ended, because it made it feel like she wanted to keep writing, but this book was already too big, and so she just kind of ended it. So I didn't love that ending, but overall I would give this series a 4 out of 5. It is classified as young adult fiction, and for good reason. I don't think there's any swear words in here. I don't remember reading any swear words, but there is some sauciness in here, which I skipped over because I have no desire to read anything saucy. And so that is something to keep in mind when you're reading these. Otherwise, I really enjoyed these because I don't like anything. I like a little bit of romance, but not like anything spicy or anything like that. And so this did a good enough job of keeping the adventure as the forefront point, and kind of the romance is like your tag along piece. So that's what I liked about these books. I would give it a 4 out of 5 rating. Next up, I read, let me put these in order. I read the Traitors game. So these I read probably in 3 to 5 days. Like, this last one I just finished in the last like 24 hours. And these were amazing. Like, the fantasy itch that I had inside of me was scratched with these books. So let me tell you about these books. So the Traitors game is about this, I guess she would also be classified as a princess, but not really. It's very dystopian in the way where it's like between like kind of different kingdoms again, kind of like the last one, but more of a dystopian type feel. So it is about this girl who lives in this one kingdom and is under a really evil leader, and so everybody like hates this leader and wants him dead, but there is a special sword that is the only sword that can kill that leader, and it needs somebody to wield that sword, and it takes a very specific person. So basically, the main character ends up getting kidnapped by a group of rebels to figure out where this blade is and how they can kill this leader. And she discovers some interesting things about herself on the journey, and basically, without giving too much away, that is the like preface of this whole series, is this person trying to find the blade, find out who the person is to wield the blade, and then trying to kill this evil king. And there is a little bit of romance in here as well, which also kind of like keeps it interesting, but there is nothing saucy in here, which I really liked. So the adventure in it was amazing. What's it called? The ability to like keep you on the edge of your seat was very much there in this, and all of the twists and turns were there as well. I thought the author did a very good job of keeping the reader engaged, and there was a lot of unexpected twists in these books, which I also really loved. I think the only thing that I didn't really like was in the first book, the author like didn't describe what the characters looked like pretty much at all. So I was like framing my own like vision of what these characters look like, but then she ends up describing them in the second book. So I was like, why wouldn't you describe them what they looked like in this first book? Isn't that like the first thing that you do when you're writing a book? So that was the only thing that I didn't like. It ended how I wanted it to end, which was, I mean, great, because I don't like bad endings or sad endings. I would give this definitely like, yesterday when I finished reading it, I would say I would have given it like a 6 out of 5, because it was like, I was so engaged. But now, stepping back, I would say maybe like a 4.5 out of 5 would be my rating on these books. I definitely recommend both of these series. I would say for the Remnant Chronicles, if you are not a young adult and desire to read those, that you should be mindful of the fact that there is some spiciness in those books, and yeah, keep that in mind. So I plan to go to the library most likely tomorrow or sometime this week, but right now I just barely picked up the, what's it called? The State series. So that is another dystopian fantasy fiction that I have picked up that I will be reading, and we'll discuss what other books I will be picking up to keep my mind engaged in the next couple of weeks. Oh wait, I did pick up the first book of this other series. It's called The First Test, and it's supposed to, I don't know. I'm only like a couple pages in, but so far I don't like it. I don't like her. She's writing from third person, and I don't love that. And the main character is only like 10 years old, and so I like can't get into it because she's so young. And that can work for certain books, but I feel like for a young adult fiction, it's reading a little bit young, and I'm barely into it at all. So I think I'm just gonna let that series slide because it's just not, it's not gripping me right off the hop. And sometimes you gotta give the book a chance, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to relate with this character at all. And so I'm just gonna let it slide. But anyways, I'm exhausted, and currently I'm making some soup for supper. And I have a busy week. So we gotta try and survive this. We got it. We can do this. I'm gonna close this off right here, but stay tuned for the other books that I'm gonna be picking up, and I also want to show you our finished projects.